Crack everything, get everything warmed up. The boys are back in town. All right, here we go. What is the concept? Who is the cast? Where do we start? How do we leave? Where do we go? How do we lose? And where do we end up? With just these 7 questions in mind, I, Aloney, and my friend Scott will create a story as fast as we can. Enjoy the mess. Try not to cancel us. We're good boys. And then the music plays. We're back, Scott. Season 2, it's here.
It's been that long, huh?
I can't believe it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we were a little short last season because we only did 8 episodes. We were supposed to do 12, but things got in the way.
Yeah.
So
life happened.
Yeah. But I'm glad you're here at 12:30 at night to record. Oh my god, I can't believe you're doing this. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
For donating your time.
My sleep schedule is a mess.
Okay, good. Mine is better than it was. I actually flipped it completely. So instead of going to bed at 1 p.m., now I wake up at like 2 or 3 p.m. It's like the exact opposite, but it's still awful. It's just a different kind of awful.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, instead of waking up to go to work at midnight, now I go to bed when I get home from work. So yeah. Okay. So we got to write a movie, don't we? Isn't that what we do on this show?
Oh shoot, is that what we do? Yes.
I think it is. I don't know. It's been so long. I don't remember how to do it. Teach me, Scott. How do we do this? Oh yeah. I ask you a bunch of random questions and stuff until we spend 20 minutes trying to figure out an idea. And then after we find the idea, then the episode actually starts. And then we spend way too long recording.
Yep.
Which should really only be an hour and a half, you know.
Yeah.
We always go like 2.5, 3 sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the longer it is, the more painful I have to edit. I've started editing with a tablet at this point. I thought it would help my back, and it did, but now it hurts my wrist. So that's not good. But yeah, okay. So I have an idea. I don't know if we should do this one. I have a few. First idea is we could write the movie that we tried to write a long time ago that we've both forgotten completely. Before we started the podcast, we were writing a movie just for funsies.
Oh, yeah.
And I have some notes we could probably go read and see if we can remember what the fuck it even was. Because I think it felt like 8 different movies we were trying to write.
Really? Yeah, I don't remember what this project was.
Yeah, so we could do that. Or I could let you have the reins, because when I do, we get crazy shit like Byzantine Romance. Or we could adapt something. Or we could take 2 movies we like, combine them, like we usually do. Those are the usuals. That's usually how we go on here. So, but I am curious at least looking at these notes before we get started.
All right, yeah.
Because it's been so long, you know?
Yeah. Again, I don't know what these notes are.
Yeah, I don't remember that much either. I don't even know how much notes I actually took. I have to reinstall Google Sheets to even look because it's on there. So let me buy time while I'm loading it now. I didn't even know it was uninstalled on my phone. My phone will just auto uninstall because it gets so full. Because I record voice logs every day.
Yeah.
So there's just like hundreds of gigs of my own voice on my phone. And slowly it eats my entire phone and there's nothing left. So it's a going. But what I remember was it was like a post-apocalyptic thing. I had a bunch of ideas for it too. I wanted to talk about like AI and like having an AI companion. I think you were the one that wanted to talk about like post-apocalyptic shit. You wanted to do like sci-fi wizard shit.
Right. Yeah.
Like it was like the wizard mentor being like a sci-fi guy instead.
Old guy who remembered how the world was.
Yeah. So let me see. I got them open now.
Yeah.
So we can look.
Yeah.
I have a file called Writing Tool 1.1 because before I started this show, I was obsessive trying to figure out the perfect way to write a story. Apparently, there's a bunch of ideas on here that I didn't even know were on here. So we could use these if we wanted to. But let's see. We got. Apparently, we were gonna write a Predator movie. Or maybe I was gonna write a Predator movie. Oh my god, it's fully written. What the fuck? What? I wrote an entire Predator 1718, and it was like that scene where they have the pistol. I wrote an entire thing where he hangs out with Raphael Aloney, and they like hang out and kill a bunch of people.
Huh.
What the fuck, man? We're cool guys, aren't we?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Old Ones Family Reunion. Wow, these are crazy.
That definitely sounds like one of your right.
Yeah, this one says the Grail of Glory. That sounds like a you and me mixed together thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. This is just the hero's journey in like a format or whatever.
Ah.
Oh yeah, I wrote a movie called Cruisin', and it's about Liam Neeson on a cruise ship. There's so many here. I'm just going through the tabs, and each one is a different story. I'm trying to get to ours. Oh, it ends on Batman the Musical, which I was writing, which was going to be an episode of the podcast, but it was so bad that I deleted it. But yeah. Damn. Okay. I can't even find it on here. Like, I think it might have never been saved, or maybe it's a different file, because that's 1.1. There's a 1.0. Oh, there's one that's shared. That's probably the one. Yep. Post-Apocalyptic Nights. That's what it was called on here.
Yeah.
This is like a whole movie. So we could just steal this movie.
We'll steal it right from the
ourselves.
creators.
Yeah, right from ourselves. Oh man, okay. Did I fill it all out is my question. And are these notes going to be even bearable? Wow, yeah, these are bad. These notes are bad. We didn't even finish the second act, dude.
Oh yeah.
We got to the end of Act 2, and then we were like, all right. And the names are so like placeholdery.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Do we want to do this, or do we want to do a different idea? Oh man. I'm just looking through it now. Let's see. Factories, overgrown facilities, and mountains is the setting. It was an action adventure because, of course, it was.
Yes, of course.
And it was supposed to be like Logan, and it was supposed to be realistic and brutal. And all the big set pieces were supposed to be like in the background, and it was supposed to be a man on the run movie.
Yeah.
Where the main character is basically Aragorn. It literally says Aragorn. It says Outsider Ranger Aragorn. He was supposed to have a rival that was like a paladin, who we named Paladin Dance after the dude from Fallout. They were partners. They split up from creative differences. They were mercenaries. They drifted apart. And then you had a wizard guy. And for some reason, it says the words Cookie Wizard.
Huh.
I don't know what that means.
I'm not sure.
It says Technomancer, touchy Patrick Stewart in Logan, but less sick.
Oh.
Mechanic gadget guy. I'm starting to realize that we suck. That's what I'm realizing. Lilith the spider tank. That sounds pretty cool.
Right.
Military grade tank with spider legs.
Yep.
Old and rusty, painted with night colors, blue crosses over an orange chassis. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
And it says Smoky and Rusty next to it. And the bad guy was a power-hungry warlord. And he was a pyramid man, it says.
Right, yeah. Yeah. I think that was one of my ideas, actually, just
it was triangular armor, like a pyramid. And then he was a muscular bodybuilder imposing guy, which I'm assuming was me. Yeah, so there's the first 2 acts here. I guess I could read these, and then if we like it, we can keep going with it. If we hate it, we can move on. All right. So it starts as all things start. Act 1, the rock cave is lost. His safe haven is a rock cave. So let's see. We see a calm lake in the mountains, a mountain brook. There's an animal swimming in the sea, and we follow it, and then bam, a bayonet goes into the fishing pit. It's Aragorn. And then he's spearfishing with the bayonet, and he's trying to build a door for his cave because it gets destroyed, I guess. We meet a wizard who's complaining about how shitty Aragorn is. This is literally just Logan.
Right.
But this isn't even the full idea. There was another idea we had. This is one of them. But I guess Patrick Stewart is building magic tech shit for him. And then a bunch of guys show up. The catalyst here is there's a group. I don't think they have a name. They're like a guild of like bad guys, like mercenary dudes. And they say, join us or we're going to kill you.
Yeah.
And Aragorn is like, fuck you, I want to be on my own because I'm a cool, badass warrior. And then they say, give us the wizard and we'll let you live. And he's like, no. So he fights to protect the wizard dude. And the enforcers attack him. And then his entire house is destroyed in the process.
Yeah.
But he decides to go out and fuck them up to help the wizard. And they took the wizard in Act 2, I guess.
Right.
And it says Vance and the bar fight. So I guess he goes to a bar looking for help to try to get the wizard. And he meets his old bro Vance, who's like this badass dude. And then he goes to figure out what's going on and who fucked up his house and who these assholes are. And the villain wants to take control of the nation and rule with an iron fist. Pretty basic bad guy shit. Oh, and his evil plan is he's going to use the wizard to hack into the Knights command network. This is so over the top. And he's going to use their headquarters to fire a bunch of missiles and control tanks all over the world.
Yeah.
And he's not just going to rule this little place. He's going to rule the whole world. Yeah. And Strider, that's the name I used for the Aragorn character, because obviously. He goes to the nearest town to get help, and he meets his old friend, Vance, at a place called Checkpoint Vincent, I guess. And we learn about their past and how they used to be bros, but they're not anymore. And then I think they get in a bar fight, and yeah, that's it. They get in his spider tank. They get the spider tank back at the end. And he's like, I'm not getting in that thing. And then he gets in it.
Right.
The end. And they drive. Here's how it ends. Vance and Strider are riding into the desert in their mechanical spider tank into the sunset. So we did kind of write a story, I guess. Yeah. I could have sworn it was a different idea I had. Were we writing multiple movies together?
Oh.
We must have, because I had a whole different one that I was writing about like this, like with the Bloodhound thing and everything, because that wasn't even that story. That was a different story. Wow, we've actually been writing partners for way longer than I thought, surprisingly, because we hardly ever really write, you know?
Yeah.
This show is like the only time we actually write anymore. And I am proud of this film template, though. It has like every single thing you would need to know about a movie. And then I guess I simplified it into this show. Also, apparently there's an idea here that just says Cthulhu Rapunzel. Interesting. Okay. So that was a waste of time. But do you want to try to make that idea and finish it? Or do you want to do something else? And I'll just cut all that.
I mean, we might.
Because if you want to do that, I'm fine with it. But if you want to do something else, I'm totally cool too. Like we could just pick the last 2 movies we watched, swap them together. I'm trying to remember how we do this show. Do we usually come up with a couple of ideas and then we pick one out of the few?
We usually just like hone in on an idea we like.
Yeah. Well, if there was something else we would want to do, there was another idea I remembered from back then, which was maybe we could combine the two. The idea I had a long time ago was that I created like a whole society network. I think we were writing both these movies at the same time, and I don't think I have the notes for it there. But the idea I basically had, from what I can remember, is it was about this girl in this like futuristic society. And basically the world ended, so it can still be the story we were just talking about. But she lived underground in like this perfect utopian society. And the idea was it was like all the subway tunnels and like underground shopping districts. That's where they were living.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, they built out from it into like this whole complicated network of like tunnel stuff. And she's living in like this super clean futuristic tunnels. And every person that's born there gets an AI when they're born. And the idea was that she has this like perfect companion that they don't have parents. They just have AIs that raise them. So they're like grown in a jar, like they're test tube babies. And then they get an AI the second they're born. And the AI is basically their parent. And it micromanages everything they do and helps them find their perfect goals and their perfect self. And they're trying to like better themselves. And it's like perfect. And it's not abusive at all. It's like entirely like the perfect way to raise a kid kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
And it's also kind of a creepy NSA thing, and it's like studying them. And the idea was that she started dating this guy, like talking to him online, and he like befriended her, and she was going to go meet him at one of the other tunnels. And then she gets on the train with her friend, and then the entire train explodes. And it turned out that guy was someone from the outside world trying to trick her. And they ended up breaking in and kidnapping her friend. And then she had to like go on a badass journey, and she meets some bloodhound-esque person out in the wilderness.
Okay.
And that was the other idea we had back then. So I think we were writing these 2 stories at the same time.
Might have been.
And I think mine was the AI one, and yours was the Knights, post-apocalyptic Knights thing.
I'm honestly kind of intrigued by the AI story. Why?
I almost kind of want to combine the two because they fit perfectly, you know?
Yeah, we can do that.
Like maybe lay off on the Knights lore a little bit, like, because I think back then we didn't get out of our system the idea to just constantly make things medieval and Renaissance and pirate.
Well, we like
Like, I think we
medieval.
finally, I like it too, but I'm just saying, I think we've accepted that as part of us now,
Right.
and we know how to curb it into what's good
Right.
instead of just like, no, that's all we're doing. Like, we're not as, we're more subtle with our writing now.
Yeah.
You know, as subtle as, hey, let's do a colony in space and call it Salem.
Yes. Brilliant.
or as subtle as Space Camelot. Yeah, we're real subtle. Okay.
We're completely original.
Yeah.
Now I got another idea.
Okay.
It's about this guy in power armor who lands on a planet shaped like a ring, and so.
Oh yeah, the Mandalorian, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh no, we can't do that. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah, definitely not Halo.
No.
Now there's just such a mix-up. Did you see in the Boba Fett episode they had a fucking Halo ring?
Oh yeah. I mean, to be fair,
Yeah.
like, a Halo as a concept was like, I think there was an old sci-fi book too that was called Ring
Yeah.
Worlds.
Elysium, the Mark Wahlberg
Right,
or
yeah,
Matt Damon,
yeah.
one of those.
Yeah, mega structures are not original to Halo.
Are there any rings that is just like it's a square instead of a ring, or like it's a triangle, something stupid?
I mean,
like it's not actually a ring.
I mean, maybe Borg cubes actually.
Yeah, there you go. It is just a cube, huh?
Yeah, kind of like it's a self.
What is the dumbest shape in space?
Dumbest shape in space.
Rhombus. What do you think?
Honestly, yeah, a cube is not very aerodynamic, is it?
Yeah, it is really stupid if you think about it.
That kind of becomes part of the charm, though. Just like they don't really need to think of it being aerodynamic; it just works.
Yeah. Also, they're like unimaginative. That's part of why it's a square, because they're robots.
That's true. Yeah.
And it's like there's no design here. It's just a square.
Yep.
It links up with other squares. That's all it needs to do.
Very logical, and we like that.
Yeah.
We like the square.
I'm looking at my dice, and I'm like, which one of these dice would be the dumbest thing to see in space? A D8 is pretty dumb because it's two pyramids ass to ass.
Right.
And that's pretty dumb in space.
There's the D10. Like that would just be
D10 is a fat diamond or whatever.
Right, or something. Yeah, that'd be a strange thing to see in space.
Yeah. It would be cool though. You could create like 10 different societies on each triangle.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that could be a fun idea.
Yeah. All right.
Kind of like a Biosphere 2, but in space.
Yes. So, combining all these ideas, what is it that we actually like about all these? Technomancer Wizard Patrick Stewart and Aragorn the Strider is a bit derivative for some reason in my mind. I don't know. It just feels like Logan with extra steps, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, we can kind of mix the like old wizard storyline a little bit. Yeah.
Well, there is something in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe if we can like kind of merge the characters, like the old wizard and like the Strider character, like kind of make them into the same character.
Oh, like an old Strider wizard?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, but
Patrick Stewart, but he acts like Aragorn.
Yeah, kind of.
I actually kind of like that.
Yeah, like an old, a grizzled vet, basically.
Yeah, that was basically who the Bloodhound character was in the original other thing.
Yeah,
was just like it was just Bloodhound.
Let's just put that right.
But yeah, making them Patrick Stewart underneath, pretty good. I like we're just taking these old ideas and we're like, oh, let's just like smush them.
Yeah.
That's how you come up with new shit, is you take two things that are unrelated and you make them go and it makes something new.
Give them a nice new twist.
Okay. The whole boyfriend betrayer thing, though, I don't know. I don't know if I like that all that much either.
Yeah.
I do like the character of like, she's raised by an AI, perfect life, explosion, oh shit, I gotta go in the real world.
Right. Yeah.
And I like her meeting Aragorn / wizard.
Yeah. And I also
Patrick Strider.
Right, yeah. And I can also play up like, like she can interact with people in the real worlds, and like, like to her the AI is completely normal, but to other people it's like, oh god, is that a monster?
Yeah, that is true.
That'd be a fun angle.
They could even think she's like a witch. Yeah. What if it wasn't like sci-fi nights? What if it was like actual nights outside?
Oh yeah.
What if it was just like it is reverted?
Right.
And it's just medieval times out there.
Yeah. Yeah, all the cell phones
Or
lost their batteries, so everyone had to figure
yeah,
it
it's
how
like
to log out.
Revolution.
Yeah.
You ever see Revolution?
Okay, I'm not sure I'm familiar with that, but
Okay, there's a show. It was. I'm glad you didn't know what it is because it's terrible. But it was a show on NBC. It was one of those we came out with a show and it only lasts like 2 seasons and we throw it away shows that NBC
right.
makes. They're what was it called? Primetime series or whatever. Yeah. So basically, it was the whole world goes dark. Like all the power on the world goes out and it won't work no matter what they try.
Right.
And they end up learning that it's actually like like nanobots that are shutting off the electrical signals. Like the whole world is actually like still power doesn't work no matter what you do. Like even if you make new power, because it's nanobots in the air that are
Right.
disintegrating. Like they turn off the electricity signals.
Or maybe.
Like they drain the power from everything.
Yeah.
Which was kind of cool. But yeah, the idea of like it's medieval times now, or like the whole Futurama thing, like the whole universe blows up and then it just comes back, but it's 1 foot taller.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. That whole thing. By the way, did you hear they're bringing Futurama back?
Oh, yeah, I did hear about that.
Yeah. And Bender's not going to be in it.
Well, I guess Bender is going to be in it, but there's still like, John.
Yeah, replacing him.
Yeah, or like, it's a weird thing. Like John DiMaggio's trying to, not quite sure. Like on paper, it kind of sounds like he's just asking for more money, but there's a little more to it, I think.
Yeah, I think he doesn't want to do it on principle because the show is done.
Yeah,
He
that
doesn't want to
too.
continue it artistically.
Yeah, that's the thing that bugs me. Like, Futurama was a series that ended like 3 times, and regardless of the quality, it managed to end pretty well each time. Every so often, I would see posts like before the announcement of being like, hey guys, you want to see more Futurama?" And every time I look at that, I would be like, "No, it
Yeah, I don't
ended.
either.
It ended
It ended
well."
perfectly. It's a fucking loop.
Yeah,
It ends as a time loop. And
exactly.
when I can remember the night where they finished Futurama, and right after the show ended, they played the first episode again, and my heart was like beating. It was so beautiful.
That's perfect.
Because the way the show ends is right at the end, it says, "Time will loop ever onward, forever and ever." This loop of the story will continually redo over and over.
Yeah.
And the end of the last episode is the beginning of the first one, and then they play the first episode because it's in syndication, so they're required to play every episode in order and then loop it over and over.
Right.
So it was not just a quality on the story itself and the idea, but it was also basically a parody of syndication. And now they're just like, nope, it's on Hulu now, and there's more.
Yeah.
I bet they're gonna do good with it, but I also think it's fucking stupid. I feel like they've moved on. They did Disenchantment, which is another really fucking good show.
Right. Yeah. But yeah. That's the thing. They've moved on, and yeah, you can't just have a show go on forever unless you're The Simpsons, I guess. And yeah, that's kind of the thing. Like,
that isn't
people
going
got
well
tired
either.
of The Simpsons.
South Park is still going, but they also kind of reboot everything.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, but it's just like Futurama. The show ended. It ended a couple of times, and now that there's like a new season, there's now the chance that it's not going to end well. That it's just going to fall under itself, or I don't know.
It's like the Scrubs reboot. Like it feels like that. The Scrubs ended. They got canceled a couple times too. They finally ended on Comedy Central. Perfect ending. Everybody had their happy endings.
Yeah.
And then they were like, "We're doing Med School."
Yeah.
And they did Med School. It was a cool idea. They had JD like transfer over to the next character. Like he was in it with his like narration.
Mm-hmm.
And then this new girl showed up with narration.
Right.
And then he was like, "You're the next one." And they passed the torch, and then the show ended.
You're right.
And it was like, "Oh, so you rebooted my favorite thing and then just fucking ended it."
Yeah.
I feel like they're doing it again. Like they're gonna the first season will be okay, the second season will be good, and then it'll get canceled again.
Right. Yeah.
And thus continues the never-ending Futurama.
Yeah.
I always think Futurama is way better than The Simpsons, by the way. Like 100 times better.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've got the chance to do a lot more, huh?
Yeah, I was never a really big fan of The Simpsons.
I mean, I grew up with The Simpsons, but yeah, Futurama definitely got a sci-fi setting. Clearly was intended for a more mature audience, so got away with a lot more stuff.
Yeah, and then Disenchantment, which I don't know if you've seen that.
I've seen a little bit of it.
Yeah, it's kind of like their fantasy show, but it feels more like their D&D show.
Oh, yeah.
Like it does the things that D&D does, where it mixes the genres of different kinds of sci-fi fantasy. So like at first it's medieval, but then eventually they're in like a steampunk city. And now the newest season I haven't watched yet, but it's Atlantis type shit. It's like 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea stuff. I've heard there's a really good love story in there because they set it up in the last season, and apparently it happens again. And I'm like, fuck yeah. That show goes to hell at one point. It's crazy. They go to hell, and then one of them gives up his chance to be in heaven to be back with them in hell,
Right.
which is fucking incredible. One of them's a demon, and he gives up his demonness to get out of hell. Like, it's fucking, it's a good show.
Yeah.
He just becomes a cat.
Oh.
He gave up everything. He actually becomes a cat.
Oh wow.
But anyway, okay. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, the episode.
Right. Yeah. Our premise. Right. Right.
Yeah. Okay. So, future girl, utopian society. Is the surface medieval? Does that mean that is this like post-apocalyptic medieval future? Like the society has rebuilt, the Earth is back, and everybody out there is just medieval, but again? Or could we do like time travel? Is she like actually in medieval times, or is that too much?
I think that might be a little much.
Yeah. Well, I had the thought of this one book I read a long time ago.
Yeah.
Where there's this girl and she's living in a reenactment. Like she grew up in a reenactment.
Was that The Village?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't remember the name of it. It was so long ago. I don't think it was the M. Night thing.
Okay.
But basically she's living in a reenactment and she doesn't know it. And there's like glass walls where people are looking in and watching her. Like, you know how like zoos have like
Right.
the glass, like it's one-sided. So like she's living her life normally and her parents are actors.
Oh.
And it's like Truman Show, but mixed with like The Village.
Huh. Interesting.
And it was fascinating to me. And for some reason, it popped into my head when I was thinking about that utopian society thing. That what if you lived in a utopian society, but actually you were being watched the whole time and it wasn't real?
Yeah.
Is also a good
right.
one. There's too many ideas here, though. I'm like, it's medieval times on the surface, and then there's tubes, and it's the survivors there, and then no, that's even fake, and then there's tubes outside of that watching them, and I'm like, bit much.
Right.
But there's something in there. I just don't want it to be a cheesy Divergent knockoff, because that's what the original was.
Right.
Because like the original idea, I think we broke the whole thing, which was she's into the guy, he lures her into a trap, she gets stuck outside, and then after that, the bloodhound dude teaches her how to fight. She saves her friend, and she goes to save her boyfriend, and it turns out he's the bad guy. And then he kills her friend, and then she goes, and she's lost everything, and then she breaks back in, kills him, the end. And then I think we even I had ideas for sequels, where like they go back to the utopia or whatever. But I don't want to do all that shit. I want to do something fun.
Right.
You know? What if it doesn't? Because like I'm like, oh, there's the inside and there's the outside world, and I feel like that's played out. You know?
Maybe a bit.
What if like she lives in that utopian interior world and she's training and she's living, and then they just kick her out when she's 18?
Or maybe making a rite
Like-
of passage.
Yeah. What if they're just like, all right, you're ready? It's like Fallout, where they're just like, leave,
Right.
go.
Yep.
This does feel kind of Fallout-y though.
Maybe a bit.
This just feels like Fallout without the 50s.
Yeah.
How do we flip the script? What do we do here that makes this completely different than what we expected? Okay, I had another dumb idea that popped in my head. Most dangerous game.
Oh.
What if, like, when she leaves, she's just being hunted? Like, she lived her whole life to, like, be programmed by this AI to live a perfect life. And then she leaves her home, and then it's like, all right, now you're being hunted. Like, could that work, or is that that just feels like Maze Hunter? What do you think?
Yeah.
You have an idea. Give me your idea. You're on this show too.
Flip the script.
Now you get to suffer. We have a cool world idea.
Yeah.
But like we can't just do she escapes the utopia and then has to survive in the gritty outside world.
Right, yeah.
And then she goes back and saves the utopia. Meh.
Yeah.
Or you're stuck outside the utopia and you're fighting your way to get into it. Also meh.
Right. What if she's alone? Yeah.
What, she's like the last person?
Yeah, what if it is
in her
what if
utopia?
it's just you mentioned her like traveling to subways. What if
What if the whole thing is in the subways?
right, or moreover, just like we mentioned the Bloodhound character, like what if that's like the first person she's like ever interacts with?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think I had that in the original idea a little bit too, and I kind of forgot about it. But yeah, the idea of like never seeing another human, because I think in my original idea, she had a brother or something. And and he was on the train with her, and then he got kidnapped. That's what it was.
Okay.
But yeah, this is way better. Yeah, you're the only human. You're raised by a machine. You were grown. It's like Mother. Have you ever seen Mother? I Am Mother.
I haven't seen that movie, but like, yeah, that's
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
right.
It's like that, but that's about escaping from her or whatever. This is slightly
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
We're formulating a concept.
Yes.
It's happening.
It's all coming together, sort of.
Okay, so an AI, like a Siri,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe we can come up with something else, like a floating orb or some shit.
Yeah. I'm thinking about
It could be like an AR thing, like it's an imaginary friend, because that was part of my older idea too. Was that it's like it grows up with you. So like when you're a kid, you pick like your favorite animal, and then it becomes that,
right.
and
Yeah.
it's hanging out with you all the time,
Yeah.
and you can like see it flying around with your like AR lenses for your eyes or whatever.
Yeah, I like that idea. I like the idea of it, of the AI kind of being like the hardware's implanted, but yeah, like the AI will then project itself as like the favorite animal. I like that idea.
Yeah, it's like your imaginary friend is real.
Right.
Because I feel like that's what I would do if I was gonna design like an AI for a kid. Like making an imaginary friend feels like it's the perfect spot for that, right? Because a kid already creates that on their own sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's like you could just make one, and then it's how they interact. So you're raised by your imaginary friend, basically, which makes an interesting concept for a society or whatever.
Right.
Okay, so she has this imaginary friend. It's like an emoji or whatever,
Right.
or like an animal. It moves around, it does stuff, and it dictates her life in these like tunnels where she's like, studying and living in like a bubble almost,
Mhm.
like a very isolated room. And then she's exploring. I like your idea of her being alone. What if we like expanded that a little bit and she's like alone in the tunnels? So she isn't just like trapped in a single room the whole time.
Yeah.
Like instead of her being in like, because before it was like, oh, it's this perfect clean society and the outside world is all dirty and destroyed. I'm like, fuck that.
Right.
What if the utopia is also dirty?
Yeah.
Like it's just shitty in there, and she's just because we don't want it to be about this utopian society. We want it to be about the AI, right?
Mhm.
Like that's the gimmick, right? Girl in her is raised by her imaginary friend. It's an AI. That's the core. So what conflict plays with that? Like maybe the AI is lying to her,
Yeah.
and like
Or
Patrick Stewart is the other side of that coin.
we see the Bloodhound character for the first time, and the AI not properly like they immediately perceive anyone else as a threat, even though this guy probably doesn't have any real intentions.
Ooh,
And it's not like the AI
yeah,
doesn't like it just doesn't understand what's going on. It's like, this is a new variable.
yeah.
I don't like it. Destroy, destroy, destroy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, and of course, the AI can't really do anything by itself. So it's like,
I like that. I like that a lot. The idea that like you're the only human and you meet another human, but the only thing you've ever known is this AI, this imaginary friend, and it's telling you that guy is not to be trusted.
right.
For some reason, I thought of Home Alone. The old man in Home Alone.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, like that relationship of like you're scared of him. He's the bad, scary guy, but
Right.
like on crack. It's like that times like 50,
Right.
where it's like not only that, but like the voice in your head is telling you he's bad.
Right. Exactly.
I like that a lot. I feel like we need to expand upon this idea. Overprotective imaginary friend AI sounds good to me. Does this need to be post-apocalyptic, or is that idea enough to carry itself? Because if this is post-apocalyptic, that's cool. But I'm like, all right, well then how do you escalate from there? Does she end up killing old man and then there's more people? Is the AI like slowly convincing her to kill every other human? Like, how do you escalate from like, I'm scared of old man? How does that become a movie?
Yeah.
I could see that being like Act 1, but I don't know where it goes. Like that's the problem with this idea. It's so nebulous, We've flipped the script though. We've figured it out. We figured out the concept of like you're raised by an AI, you've never seen a human, and now the AI thinks all other humans are a threat. That's cool. And then it also kind of like could be like a parable with mental illness too, because it's like a voice in your head.
Right.
And it could also be played with like, is the AI even real or is it in her head? Like, does she even have technology in her? Or is this something she, like a coping mechanism she's come up with in her loneliness, Like, is the AI even real?
Oh.
Like, did she just make it all up? Like the AI isn't even there. Could be a thing.
Yeah.
Like she's always looking at her watch and she has like a heads up display and shit and she's messing with tech. But it would be crazy at the end to just be like, oh, there's that screen is broken. Like there's nothing on the
No.
screen. Like it's all in her head. But no,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's something here.
Yeah. I also, for added dramatic effect, yeah, like when we first meet the Patrick Stewart character, what if he has some blood on him, like clearly not his blood, so it's like adds to
Ooh.
mystery and like, like is he telling the truth? Is he going to murder me in
Mm-hmm.
my sleep?
Yeah. I don't know if I'd trust an old man that I met in the tunnels,
Right, yeah.
already seems kind of creepy.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that I'd trust the AI.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But
When
also it's Patrick Stewart, which makes me want to trust him.
decisions.
How would I ever think he was safe though? Like what would he have to do for me to not be afraid of him?
Yeah. Yes,
Hmm.
get the upper hand at one point and, spare her life. Or maybe,
Yeah, or like she's about to die and he saves her kind of thing.
yeah.
And then it's like thing shoots out of her arm, tases him. Get away from him. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about that. There's something here. Definitely something here. I don't want this to turn into Mother though, because I was like, oh, and then eventually she turns on the AI and rips it out, and that's how it'll end with her walking into the desert or whatever.
Right, yeah.
But I'm like, that's basically Mother. That's
Right,
what
yeah.
happens in Mother. I'm like, fuck, this movie exists. That's what writing is. Writing is just figuring out a movie that already exists and then changing it so it's not that movie anymore.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because what did we started this with like it's Divergent, and then we changed it to now it's Mother, and now we're like, all right, what movie is it now? Uh, I don't remember this being this hard.
I don't know. Yeah, this
I bet
always
we're right on track with our usual.
yeah, this it was always a process.
Yeah, we always forget how long it takes to actually get the concept. The concept is like half the show.
Right.
It shouldn't even be called 7 questions. It should be called like fucking find the concept and then rush to put it together because that's what it feels like. The first question is what is the concept, and it always takes us like 50 minutes.
Right.
Okay. So what is the concept, Scott? What do we have so far? What is this idea? Because I have nothing written down and it's been 50 minutes.
Yeah. How old is this girl or woman?
Okay, yeah. So we'll move on to question 2. What is the cast?
Right.
Okay.
It's
that's a
it's
good
a very
question.
different movie if it's like, if
Yeah.
it's like a 7-year-old or if it's like a 17-year-old.
Yeah. Well, that's what do you want it to be? Because I think it. At first, I was like, oh, they're like 20 or they're like 16 or they just turned 18.
Maybe
And now I'm
19,
like,
yeah.
maybe, yeah. But now I'm like, kid sounds way cooler though.
Yeah, maybe.
Like we don't actually have to make this movie, remember? So it being a kid, it actually could be more compelling. Because like if you're like a 20-year-old and there's an AI talking to you or whatever, it's like I don't know. That's kind of what Mother is like they start as a kid, but then eventually they become an adult. And it's like a mother figure that they're fighting.
Right.
This isn't a mother figure. This is your scary imaginary friend that raised you.
Right.
So if we're playing with an imaginary friend, then maybe they should be a kid.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I can't think of a reason for them to not be a kid.
Yeah.
Especially since if the whole movie's taking place in these tunnels, then then it's fine. If they leave the tunnels, then it might be more interesting too. Because if they're a kid, it's like way more dangerous.
Right. Yeah.
Plus, the AI can be like, "Don't talk to strangers." That's the name of the movie. The movie is "Don't Talk to Strangers." That's how it opens. It opens with the AI going, "Now, what did I just teach you?" And then she says, "Don't talk to strangers." That's the beginning of the movie, and we see her daily routine. I'm getting into the plot. We can't do that yet. We have to figure out what the concept is first.
Right.
All right. So, what concept do we have right now? Like, be a mirror for me, Scott. I'm too in the idea. What have I explained to you? What's in your mind? What is the concept?
Right. Well, we have a girl who has lived her whole life with this AI companion who basically, is effectively her imaginary friend who like helps her avoid danger, keeps her company, and they live in the abandoned subway tunnels. Yeah, I'm not sure how bad the conditions would be. Well, pretty bad, I assume, but like they'll make the best of it. And life's kind of normal. They get by on their daily life, and then they get a visitor, an old man who looks a bit like Patrick Stewart, arrives to their subway, they see him, and the AI can't comprehend this new variable, so it must be destroyed. That's the logical conclusion. We can't assess what this man will do.
Okay, we got something here. So when you said that, for some reason I thought of like a Tinkerbell Peter Pan type deal for a second. Just because I'm like, if we needed something to play off of, she is kind of like a Lost Boy.
A little bit, yeah.
Like she's in this world, and I was like, what could the interior? When you said what could the interior look like, I was like, oh, maybe it's like a jungle in some of the parts. Like maybe it's got Portal 2 vibes, where it's like overgrown sometimes, and then sometimes it's clean.
Oh yeah. There we go.
So it's got like that, and then also with the Portal vibes, you got an AI in there, so like there is definitely a correlation here. And now I'm like, this is just baby Chell. This is baby Shell.
This is the story of why she doesn't trust AI.
Yeah. And then the AI is a potato, and it's on her portal gun.
It all makes sense.
Yeah, we just wrote Portal 2. Instead of Stephen Merchant, it's Patrick Stewart. There we go. Another guy from Logan, though. All right. Let's see. So, yeah, from what you've said, the concept is little girl, imaginary friend, surviving on what's left in tunnels, underground, and then she meets old man. Things are different. Okay. So the Peter Pan angle isn't actually a bad idea at first. I was like, oh, that sounds dumb. But then I was thinking about it, and I'm like, maybe not.
Yeah, it kind of makes a bit of sense.
I mean, Tinkerbell gets jealous, right? Like, that's her whole thing.
Yeah.
She's like his jealous little girlfriend type deal. She's like a friend that's a girl, but you don't think of as a girl. And then she's jealous of all the other girls. So this imaginary friend, I feel like we need more than just Patrick Stewart. I feel like she needs to meet multiple people, and each person, it gets more ridiculous how much this AI is pushing her away from them.
Right.
Oh, it's an old man. He's got blood on him, though. We shouldn't trust him.
Yeah.
Makes sense. But then it goes all the way down the line to the end where it's like, it's another kid your age that's also scared and alone and needs food.
Right.
Kill it. Like,
yeah.
It's like that level, right? Where it's like, we can't trust this kid. This kid's got its own imaginary friend. It's going to kill me. Or this kid's unpredictable, you know?
Yeah.
There's definitely something there. All right. So we do have a concept. Little girl traveling through the endless tunnels in a Neverland-esque, like she's trapped in this endless loop of unknowns and different biomes within tubes underground. There's no escape. She's stuck with this AI. At what point wouldn't the AI just have her grow food? I just realized that. I'm like, why doesn't she just like have the AI? Why doesn't the AI just tell her to build a garden, stay in one place, you know? Maybe the sections are closing off or like collapsing.
Right.
So like imagine like an endless circle. Oh my God, a circle. Halo ring.
It's all coming together.
Halo ring, dude. Maybe she's in space. Why isn't this in space? Why does it have to be underground? This whole underground thing, I'm like, does it work? The whole time I was also thinking underwater, like BioShock. Which one's better, Scott? Should it be in the sky, in space, in the water, underground? Which one is worse? Which one fits the theme more, actually? Maybe underground fits it more.
I think underground fits it more because it's like, that is very isolating, but it's not like impossible for people to find it.
Yeah. What if it's like Hyperloop tunnels?
Yeah. With synthesizers. That's where she gets the food.
Yeah, there you go. Like it's like an endless like circle underground.
Yeah.
Or maybe even not. Maybe it's better if it's like a labyrinth, like it's like endless tunnels that wind on forever. Like it's just future Subway.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like it could be anywhere. This could be on Mars. This could be on a moon. This could be on Earth. It doesn't matter, you know?
Sure. Yeah.
It's just endless, future-y, rusty subway tunnel forever. And you could get different kinds of tunnels that are all connected in different ways.
Yeah.
And like they're trying to fix stuff. And maybe there's like trains and shit, but like that come by.
Yeah.
That's another thing, like a train. Like automatic trains that are always on forever.
Right.
And they're like solar powered.
Yeah. And also, for some reason, I like the idea of like those trains maybe hang from the ceiling or like, have the rails are on the ceiling. So like she can walk under them, no problem. And it's just like, there go those weird tube things.
Yeah. And then like sometimes they're like longer.
Yeah.
Like they fill the whole cabin. Or there's like a tight tunnel.
Right.
Like the tunnel goes up more. So like they're on the ceiling, but eventually like they're like right next to you. They just fill the tunnel.
Yeah.
Like when they're on the ceiling, it's like a maintenance tunnel underneath. But then later they're like the whole tunnel.
Yeah.
Like I like long stretches of maintenance tunnels, and then there's like tight tunnels. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, makes sense.
Or even that it just keeps changing. Like sometimes they're on the ceiling, sometimes they're below. It just depends on where it is, where they could dig out.
Sure, yeah.
But the idea is that it's an endless circle.
Yeah.
And the compartments behind are collapsing. Okay, I have an idea. What if the AI is saying the compartments behind are collapsing, but they're not? Like the compartments keep closing off and locking, and then they're like, oh, because it's collapsed.
See, yes.
But like eventually one of the tunnels in front of her actually does collapse, and she has to like run away from like a collapsing tunnel, and then like ends up finding out, oh shit, the door's open. Like there's more back there. Like the AI's been lying. Because I like the idea of the AI being malicious. Like it's not malicious at first, and it's not actually malicious. It's trying to protect her and like continue the variables and everything, right?
Or maybe it's like acting on known information and like they've never backtracked. So it's like,
Yeah.
that room no longer exists.
Yeah, that's true. That's true too. That also works. I feel like we could play with all of these things.
Yeah.
So the idea of she's walking in an endless labyrinth of circles where it's just like, it's a big complex. It goes around the whole place. It's just endless tunnels that are like looping, multiple pathways, and they like loop around. And the whole thing is like just one big fucking circle of like tubes that are just going around. And the idea of just like you're constantly going through tunnels forever and there's no light. Maybe sometimes there's light, but then that's quickly like we have to get out of here. There's too much, like, you know, the whole place could collapse if there's a hole like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right. There's definitely something there. And I like the idea of these like train cars that are moving around. You get some fucking Indiana Jones type like racing thing, you know, where they're in the minecart or whatever.
Oh.
Like somebody could be on one of those like pump track things.
Oh.
Also, when I thought of Patrick Stewart, I was like, oh, he's like a hobo, like in the containers, you know, where he's like sitting like a hitchhiking hobo type deal, you know, where they sit in the back of the train cars. Like I was like, that could be his whole vibe. But yeah, we have something. So, what is the concept? We have it. Concept is little girl, endless labyrinth of tunnels with an AI. AI is going off of information it doesn't know. It's acting like it's like it knows everything, and it's telling her to do things that she probably shouldn't. And slowly the AI is getting worse and worse and treating her worse and worse as she fights back until she eventually realizes that maybe the AI like she shouldn't have the AI kind of thing. Is that what we're doing? Or she shouldn't listen to it all the time?
Shouldn't listen to it all the time, certainly.
Is it the villain? That's the question.
It's the antagonist. It thinks it's acting in the best interest, but you know, it's making all these poor decisions.
Yeah, is there any greater villain like nature, like the tunnels caving in or some shit, or like a different? I don't think it should be another person being the big,
right.
You know, we definitely need more of a ticking clock in this one, though. You know.
Yeah.
I think her telling her like the AI being like, "Yo, the tunnels are collapsing," like the doors locking behind them makes sense, and then later finding out that maybe the AI is the one locking them in order to stop her from going back there because the readings are unsafe, you know. But I don't know. The idea of this AI is like her navigator.
Right.
And it's lying to her. Could do some. There's a lot here. Just how do we need more characters. So question 2, who is the cast? We got little girl. I'm imagining the girl from Aliens.
Newt. Yeah.
Someone like that.
Right.
Because, you know, she's probably like 40 now.
Yeah.
But, you know, a kid like that, their AI, what animal should it be? You should pick the animal. Or maybe it changes. It's like a familiar.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fun idea. My default would be, I'm thinking maybe like a giant newt, maybe, or like kind of like a lizard of some sort. Something that would like, you know, be able to skirt around in tunnels. Yeah.
Yeah. I also thought at sometimes maybe it's like a fish, like swimming.
Oh, that's a fun idea. Like you said, yeah, make it familiar.
Yeah, it can shapeshift and it just changes based on her mood.
Right. Yeah.
So when it's like searching for stuff, it's like a newt, and then when it's like, you know, when she's bored, it turns into a fish or something. Like it's always changing.
Sure. Yeah.
Feels like After Earth. We're just gonna shove a kid in a CG room and be like, "Act, kid."
Yeah.
Well, here's what we're gonna do, Jaden Smith. We're gonna have your dad on the phone.
Yep.
Telling you how to act while you act out a movie without him. He's gonna do a weird accent, and the whole movie he's gonna be calling you on the phone and saying, "Hey, kid, this is what you do."
Mm-hmm.
Remember me from Fresh Prince? I moved my way up. I made it.
Yep.
Did you see they're doing a Fresh Prince like realistic movie?
Oh
Like
yeah.
it's a TV show, but it's like more realistic.
Right. Yeah. I think I saw that.
Yeah. It's like the serious version.
Right.
Okay, we got that. And then there's Patrick Stewart. Patrick Stewart is a good guy then, right? He's a hobo in the trains. He's the train man. Maybe his train crashes. That's how she meets him. Cause like
Yeah, he gets
the
lost.
yeah, like he's injured and she's trying to help him, and it's like don't. You know?
Right.
It's a good starting point. And then like he's slowly following her or something after she's patched him up a little bit. Like she helps him out of the train car and he lives. And the AI is like, don't do that. Is trying to stop her the whole time. She gets him out. And then they part ways. And the AI is like, you shouldn't have done that, blah, 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 blah. And he's like slowly following her the rest of the movie. Like she goes into the next compartment, the door locks behind her, and he's still traveling in her direction. So like they'll keep running into each other because he's going through the same tunnels, like following her, like her direction. That could be good. Any other characters we want? I feel like we should have another kid at some point.
Yeah.
Let's look at the archetypes of characters. Let's see. What was the name of this? Don't Talk to Strangers?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. The AI needs a name. The girl needs a name.
Hmm.
One of them should be named Newt, right?
Could call the girl Sally. I don't know. Just like
Sally. Okay.
yeah.
Sally. It works.
Yep.
It's an innocent kid name. I could see an AI being like a tiny little Newt calling a girl Sally. Sally, don't touch that. Sally, don't open that. Sally, don't do that. Don't do that, Sally. I want the AI's name to be something like Squishy or Squish or something that a kid, like the kid named her. Like the kid named the AI, so what the hell should the AIs be?
Sure.
I don't know. I'm thinking of Tinkerbell for some reason. Tinker? I don't know. We're gonna get stuck on names forever though.
Yeah.
Somebody being named Belle could be good, like Tinkerbell.
Right. Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Or like a Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Patty Pan. I think Sally Peters is a good name.
Oh, Sally Peters.
Yeah, Sally Peters.
Maybe, yeah. Part of me kind of likes the idea of her not having a surname.
Yeah, that's true. It is better with just Sally. Patrick Stewart's name could be Peters.
Sure.
Peter. We could call her Wendy, but I feel like that's a bit much.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I think Sally works better.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just going to call it AI then. You know what I just realized? The AI doesn't need a name because she hasn't spoken to anyone else.
That's true, yeah.
She only speaks to the AI. So it's you. Or, she. I don't know. AI, Sally, and Peter. Any other characters we want here? Or is it just Patrick Stewart and some kid on a green screen?
Well, not just on a green screen, but
in a practical set of different compartments. Do it like Snowpiercer, where we have a gymnasium-sized like shipping container room that is the tunnel, and then we change the sides of it. All right, but yeah, and it's super impractical, and it costs way too much money. That's what we do.
But it's saving humanity.
For the art. Yeah. Okay. What are we doing here then? So, is that the whole cast then?
The main.
You want to add it? Any other? Okay, we'll just add characters as we go, I guess.
Yeah, you did mention like wanting to introduce another kid, so
yeah. You know what? Patrick Stewart is Patrick Stewart. The other kid is Peter.
There we go.
Does he have an AI? I feel like it would be cool if he did.
Oh, the kid?
Yeah. What if everyone has an AI?
Yeah, sure.
So like Patrick Stewart has one.
Yeah.
This guy has one.
Yeah, it's supposed to be something like you give up after a while. Like, say like when
that's good too.
When you're 10, that's when you stop using the AI. There comes a point where you just don't use it anymore, and she's surpassed that.
Yeah, I guess that works. The idea of like this used to be a regular society and just everybody had these things. They're like your Siri or whatever.
Right.
Like it's just like a gadget that everyone has.
Yeah.
And you just have this AI companion with you for life. I feel like as a person, what is the use beyond childhood for these? It's got to be like a work thing, right?
Sure, yeah.
So I feel like when you age, it ages too. And as you get older, it becomes less of like an imaginary animal type deal and it becomes more practical.
Right, yeah.
And it's more like a statistic thing. It changes with the person.
Sure,
like whatever
yeah.
the person is like, it is like. So Patrick Stewart's could be like a traditional Siri type AI. Like it's just like a voice. Like it's like a like a butler type deal,
Hmm.
where like his AI is just like a butler emoji or some shit, like something, or just a voice or something.
Right. A very static voice.
Yeah. Well, I feel like you don't want the AIs to just be voices because then people would go crazy. It has to have some physical component to it, or else you'll seem insane, right? Like, how do you distinguish between like a hallucination and an AI, right? So maybe these AIs have to have like a physical body somewhat, like that you see at all times, just for like safety reasons.
Hmm.
So he's got like a bird AI. Like a bird feels like it makes more sense for like an old man to have, you know? Like as you get older, it becomes a more practical type pet. Like a seeing eye dog. That's what these AIs are. They're like seeing eye dogs, but for everyone, right? What's that called? An emotional support animal,
There you
but
go.
AI.
Yeah.
That's what these are.
EC's emotional companions.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there we go. That EC is perfect. So, artificial emotional companion. I feel like AI is like a terrifying term, so it wouldn't be called an AI. It'd be like a augmented reality, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Because that's what it is.
Right. Yeah.
So augmented reality emotional companion.
There you go. AEC.
Yeah, AEC. There you go. Eek. Eek.
Eek.
AREC. ARC. 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 Fuck, we got to stop it with the names. We get so stuck on this.
Yep. Names are fun.
That's like, I know they're fun, but we don't have time to have fun, Scott. We're here to do work.
Yep. Work.
We're here to make a dumb story. We're an hour and 20 minutes into the recording and we haven't even started the plot. Okay, I gotta keep us on track sometimes. But yes, everyone having an AEC. I actually like that. AEC does sound good. Yeah, everybody has an emotional companion AI thing. And his is like a bird or something. What would Patrick Stewart's? It's like your spirit animal. Aw.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peter's is definitely Tinkerbell. Like straight up.
Or maybe a barfly.
Yeah, there you go. Butterfly.
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart's being a bird or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, perhaps a
What are you
parrot.
thinking? There you go. Yeah, parrot. Which also plays into how he thinks about it, right? Like it's just something that speaks after him. It's not like it doesn't dictate what he does.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's the point of these. There's emotional support animals. So they're supposed to be there to support you in what you do.
Yep.
But this girl has been raised without anyone else. So it has changed its programming a little bit. It has gone outside of what it's supposed to do. It's gotten more control over her than it should.
Right.
Like it's supposed to be your friend to help you do stuff.
Yeah.
So like asking it to Google shit, like that's what it is in normal life. It's like asking it to Google shit, telling it about your day. It's like your therapist. It's like your free Google machine. It's like any tool you need, like calculators or math, or you want to learn anything or ask anything or remember anything. You know, it's like a smartphone. It's the smartphone of the future. Your emotional support smartphone. I feel like that would actually happen. Like if we get augmented reality to the point where we have the contact lenses, phones are still going to be there to control them, I guess, but eventually we might just fucking throw the phone out and it might just be like something we see in the world.
Right.
Like your hand will become the phone.
Right. Yeah.
It's a projected phone. I always feel like we need to bring back the wrist computer. I feel like we got rid of it because it's impractical.
Right.
But it's so cool. Like we could all have wrist. We already have wrist computers. We just don't wear them on our wrists.
Yeah.
Why is it less cool when it becomes a phone? You notice that?
Yeah.
Like put your phone on your wrist. That's fucking cool. You take it off. That's just a phone.
Yep.
How? Why is there a distinction there? Okay. Anyway, I'm getting off track. Okay. So we have the characters then. Every person they meet is going to have an AI with them. And we have 3 characters right now that matter. And that's all that really matters right now. And if we need more characters, we'll come up with them as we go. Okay. Right there. There we go. So what's next, Scott? Question 3 is where do we start?
Little girl is exploring the tunnels just as she always does. Like, ooh,
okay.
It's synthesized fresh food for you. Eat up.
Yeah, we need a safe haven of some sort. So here's the question. She's always been traveling these tunnels? Or did she start somewhere first and then start traveling? Do we start with her being born? Are we starting with her as the age she is the whole story, like as a kid? Or do we show the circumstances that got her here? Like, do we just start with her and the AI walking?
It's kind of a good idea. Show the circumstances. Yeah, she was in the tunnels. So she was kind of just abandoned there. I want to say,
Okay.
let's say at the age of maybe 4.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good idea. Like her and her parents being in a train when the calamity, whatever happened to destroy the world happened.
Sure.
So like it's been like wait, is she 10 now? She was 4, so 6 years
Right.
since
Yeah.
the world ended.
Yeah.
That works. And you don't even know if the world ended, right? Like it
Right.
could just be
Yeah.
you're trapped down here.
It could have just been a
That's part
nasty
of the fun.
accident.
Yeah. It could just be like the miners that were stuck underground for months and months.
Right.
But every train collapsed. Like the whole
The whole
or maybe
system.
you just the system got fucked up. The power went out.
Mhm.
Or it's flickered. It's like emergency power is on. But they were in the tunnels, her and her parents, and then all we have to see is she's in like a glass train with her parents. Like that you can see the windows of the train looking out into like future city or some shit, or just at the wall or whatever.
Mhm.
Actually, I like the idea of like these tunnels are boring and they're all metal like a hyperloop, and then your AI can like project shit on walls.
Mm.
So like she's looking out the window and like the AI is like painting like stuff for her to see.
Right.
Like it's like graffitiing the walls as she looks at them.
Yeah.
And it's like this pretty display. And her parents are just like looking out at like screens that are on walls. And she's seeing like this like beautiful thing being painted on the wall. And she's like painting with it or whatever. And then you just see her parents are there. She's in a train car. Underground. Lights flicker. You hear an explosion sound. Everything's shaking. Train crash. You hear her scream. She wakes up in the rubble with her AI.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else is there. Her parents are dead.
Yeah.
Maybe we even show her looking and you don't see the bodies. You just see her face
Right. Yes.
of her finding them.
Yeah.
And then you kind of hear her cry. And then it's like 6 years later.
Yep.
Okay. Safe haven was the train car. Where do we start? A perfect train ride with her parents. Train breaks. We learn how the AIs work in that moment too, where it's like her AI paints on the wall. Parents look at screens. Train crashes. Scream. She sees her parents. We don't. 6 years later. Okay. She's 10. She's walking through the tunnels. That's basically where we start. So the catalyst and the inciting incident, right? So the catalyst is the explosion, the world ending.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the inciting incident. So she's been stuck in these tunnels for days and days and days. What is the thing that changes everything? So for 6 years she's been walking. Is it the old man? Is that what thing is?
It's kind of a big thing, yeah.
Does it start with old man's train crashes? She sees the train crash just like when she was a kid.
Right, yeah. It's
She
upsetting.
wants to go help.
Yeah.
AI is like, don't help him. She helps him anyway. Immediately we get the conflict, right? It's like, okay, she hasn't seen another human in 6 years. She's a child. She's been living with an AI keeping her company this whole time, walking through the tunnels. She sees another person in the same danger she was in.
Or maybe flip the script maybe a little bit. Like he sees she's in distress, assumes she was part of the crash, and
Oh, so like later, or like
No,
the 6 years later, he sees her in danger.
Yeah, or like he's in the crash, but he's able to walk it off. She sees her panicking because it is just like the crash she was involved with.
Oh yeah.
So he goes over to help her. She starts panicking.
That's even better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Flipping the script is the ultimate answer, isn't it?
I guess so, yeah.
Because your first idea is cliche and basic, and then you go, what is the better version? What is the opposite of that? Or just a better, like, how do you flip the script on that? So we did it. Okay. So yeah, she sees him get in an accident. He's fine, and as he's limping, she's
trying
panicking,
to hide.
and the AI is like comforting her and like helping her because that's its job. It's running risk assessment. It's like your neurochemical makeup is changing. Like, oh, you seem to like, you can see it like reading stats of her like dopamine and serotonin and shit. Like that shit pops up, and then it says what the AI is sort of thinking there. And then it's like, you're hurt, you're scared. Like it's helping her. Like it never says what's in the back end, but I like the idea of like you can see the AI's thoughts sort of thing.
Right.
Like these AIs, as you grow up, you're supposed to understand what they're doing to detect your feelings more as you get older. So it's like immediately when it senses you are in distress, it's showing readouts that an adult could read that and understand that are like, this is what's happening to you this way. Like these chemicals are here, you're stressed from this, you're panicking because of this. Like you can see all these readings popping up, right? And then the AI just acts like she's a kid and is just explaining the situation. It's like, you are in distress. stay safe, hide, blah, 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 that kind of thing. So we get the sort of vibe between them is like it always acts as her imaginary friend, but it's got more going on. Okay. Actually, to explain this in a shot, right? Imagine you're seeing through her eyes as she's sort of having like a panic attack almost.
Mm-hmm.
She sees like stats and figures in the distance that are like panic attack, this, all this different stuff. And it's like explaining like Google results that are like, this is what you do during a panic attack, like flying by really fast. All these like stats and figures. And then the camera that stuff goes out of focus. And in front of her, what comes in focus is the animal. And it's talking to her.
Right.
And it's like, just imagine like a feather. And it turns into like a bird and it shows like a feather. And it's like, just imagine a feather and make sure it's not going too high, not going too low. Just breathe. And it ends her panic attack with the thing from Celeste. If you ever played Celeste, there's a great scene with a feather where they explain anxiety. So she does that. She explains that feather technique thing. It ends her panic attack. Then Patrick Stewart walks up to help, and that's where they meet. So like, all right. So where do they start? 6 years later, we see her daily life a little bit in a short montage, like not really a montage, but just like what happens every day. Then train car falls off the roof, right? Crashes off the tracks from the ceiling. She hides, has a panic attack. AI talks her down. Patrick fucking Stewart shows up. And I could see even his bird has like stats and figures that pop up, and then it's speaking to him, and it's like she's having a panic attack. She seems fine. And then it's like you can even hear the AI like say that like Patrick Stewart's rib is broken, but he's still more worried about the kid. I actually like the idea of them being together for a while better.
Yeah.
Like he comes to help her with her panic attack. She's already better, but he's there. And then they're just like walking together. Like their AIs are talking and they're talking, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Like as they're like his bird and her like AI that keeps changing are hanging out and chatting. And he and her are sort of walking together, also chatting in private while their AIs are busy communicating. And then you sort of get like this, like, the usual apocalypse talk of like,
right.
Oh, the world sucks. Oh, where are your parents? Oh, they're dead.
Yeah.
She's like, where's your family? He's like, oh, they're dead. You immediately get like, oh, this is her new dad figure. It's like Grandpa Stewart is here to protect you. Then what? How does the AI, what happens to separate them? And does the AI sort of orchestrate that?
Right.
I do like the idea of the AI like separating them.
Yeah. Or kind of think about it, like we mentioned Patrick Stewart's AI. Perhaps he's also perhaps that AI is also saying like, we can't take care of this child. We need to look out for ourselves.
Yes. That's a genius idea. Yeah, like the AI telling him like, yo, we can't, like telling him to not like risk assessmenting that is good. And him ignoring it is also good, I think. Do we want him to be a shitty person or do we want him to be a good person?
My assumption was good person, but I don't know. Maybe mixing it up a little bit might suit us better.
Like he could be a good guy, but I don't know what's more interesting. He's a good guy and the AI is separating them, or he's a bad guy and the AI is separating them. It could be interesting. Him being selfish could work.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Like he didn't come to help her when she was having the panic attack. He was just standing there.
Yeah. Maybe
that's the question.
Maybe we need to rework our AI dynamic.
No, I like the AI dynamic. I think I get the concept we have of like, these are the things, they're like your imaginary friend. They show you the stats and figures and then they explain them like an emotional support animal. They're there to help you deal with shit. And they're there to sort of assess risk and give advice and not really do anything else. The idea of hers like going beyond that because it was just her is interesting to me. Like they're not supposed to do other shit, but this one is. Like that's the question. Do we want these AIs to be broken? Like hers is because it was never built for this situation.
Right.
It's reacting badly
or
to what to do and
maybe the AIs deteriorate over time.
Oh, like a Cortana type, like
kind of, yeah. But
AI
it's
Alzheimer's.
Like, he has a fresh new one and he's decided what he wants it to look like. Meanwhile, she has one that's like 6 years old and starting to malfunction.
Yeah, like it needs maintenance.
Right.
Like it needs a defrag or whatever.
Right.
That could work. I don't know though. What is the vibe we're trying to give off here, you know?
Yeah, I guess that's kind of a big issue.
Because I don't want it to be, if we think about these AI instead of like parents, but instead like emotional support animals.
Mm.
If it wasn't an AI, if it was her pet dog,
Right.
what would we do with the dog throughout the story? Dog would be scared of strangers,
Yeah.
open up to strangers. Maybe the stranger would actually be bad, maybe.
Right.
And like dog gets killed. That's the low moment. Like, do we want this? Do we want to flip it again and just be like, no, the AI isn't bad. The AI is actually the good guy, and it's just like she loses it, and it's like a Bing Bong type deal where it's like you have to give up your imaginary friend as you get older. Like, is this coming of age thing now, or is the AI malicious? Like we were gonna say, like not malicious but mistaken.
Right.
And so those are two very different stories.
Yeah.
Is the world bad or is her friend bad?
Right.
What's better?
Hmm.
In like the Peter Pan analogy, it's kind of falling apart at this point, but
A little bit, but
he could be like a Captain Hook. Like he seems like a good guy, but he's not.
right.
Like he's conning her type deal.
Yeah.
It's there's a lot of different directions we could go.
Yeah. I do kind of like that angle of like, he initially tries to con her, but
Yeah,
it
like
comes
he's helping
around
her
maybe.
out.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
What does he need? Is like he needs her to help him out because he's injured.
yeah. And he needs
And then the second
food.
he doesn't need her anymore, he's gonna turn on her.
Right. Or, just not necessarily like turn on her, like more just try to leave and, maybe
Yeah.
escalates from there.
Or like even she could be in danger and he won't help her.
Right.
Like he's selfish.
Yep.
That's what we should learn. We should like Patrick Stewart because he's Patrick Stewart and love him because he's Patrick Stewart. And then later the turn is, oh shit, that ain't Patrick Stewart.
That's just
You're being mean.
Just Patrick Stewart playing a character.
Yeah. How dare you make me think it's Patrick Stewart when it's actually Patrick Stewart pretending to be a bad, selfish man. His bird being like not a parrot, but actually parrot is fun because of the whole pirate vibe. But it could be fun if it was like a what's the scavenger bird?
A vulture?
Yeah, it could be like a vulture. Would be fun. Like a cutesy vulture. Like chibi vulture.
Right. Yeah.
I think that'd be cool. Like symbolic thing of like he's like a scavenger. He's picking shit apart, taking pieces of tech. And we can keep the technomancer wizard thing a little bit, not throw it away completely. Him being like a techie guy could be cool too.
Right.
Because he can like show her what her AI could actually do if she like pushes it.
Yeah.
Because we forgot some of the fundamentals. We need a mentor figure. So that's what he is. We lost track of that when we were coming up with all the stuff. Him being a mentor, but a bad one, could be good.
Maybe. I don't know.
All right. So AI talks her down. Maybe not having Patrick Stewart walk up to her, but her still help Patrick Stewart. Like his leg is broken or something. And she helps him with that, despite her AI saying no.
Yeah.
She has a panic attack. The AI talks her down. Maybe the vulture asks her for help.
There you go.
His AI vulture asks her for help. I also like the idea of like doing a little bit of a horror scene where she's like running away from like this AI vulture. Like she's hiding, she's having a panic attack. Her panic attack ends, and then it's like this horror thing of like it's stalking her. And later she's like, "Oh shit!" And then when it turns, it like smiles at the end of the horror thing, like right when it's gonna do some terrifying thing.
Right.
It turns out that it's just trying to get her to help it.
It lands right in front of her with the wings all out.
Yeah, like it's like moving around corners and like following her and like trying to catch her, and she's like hiding from it like it's a fucking velociraptor.
Right.
But then as soon as it gets her, it's just like flaps its wings and says, "Help me."
Right.
Like he needs help.
Yeah. That still needs. Yeah. It would be interesting to cast like the vulture because I still feel like it would be an imposing voice.
Ooh, that's good too. Like imposing but soothing.
Yeah.
Keith David.
Yeah. My thought was maybe kind of like almost like Christopher Lee. Almost. I know he's dead, but it's like.
Yeah, that's why I said Keith David.
Right.
Keith David is similar. Arbiter.
Oh right. Yes.
Because he could do scary, but he could also do nice and calm and cool.
Yes.
Yeah. So Keith David the vulture scares her, but also then reveals, "No, I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm just here. Get help." Her AI is against it. This is the first time she's going to turn against her AI and get help. So the catalyst was everything blowing up. Inciting incident is him being in danger, and her crossing the threshold is saying, I'm going to help him anyway. Pissing off her AI a little bit. Or even just setting up the series of events that are going to occur. All right. Question 3.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we go? What is their journey going to? Where is their location? I feel like he needs to give her a place he is heading toward, right?
Right, yeah.
Also, we skipped over how do we leave. That was the whole train exploding thing, like with him and her. This whole thing we just did, that was how do we leave.
Right.
How do we get out of the safe haven of her traveling alone? She meets this guy,
Yep.
this old man who will help her. Now that the old man is there, where does he say they should go?
Yep.
And I feel like he should have other people he knows about, or conning her into saying, like if he tells her, he's like, hey, I have some friends, you know?
Right, yeah.
Question is there anybody anywhere he's going? Like, does he know other people and he's trying to like basically screw her over and like give her to all his friends, like fucking like cannibal shit or whatever it is, or like take her AI parts?
Not that
Or
far.
is there no one there? Is he just lying? He doesn't actually know anybody else.
Then where
Is
would
she
we-
also the first human he's met? And he's just telling her, we're going to this place, but there isn't actually a place. I actually think that's kind of fun. Like, he's just wants, like, in order to make Patrick Stewart not the most evil character in the universe and make him want fucked up shit, like, there's nothing he could get from her, right? So what if he just wants a friend? That's what he actually wants.
Right.
Like, he just doesn't want to, he just wants somebody to hear him talk, you know? Like, I like the idea of this story actually being kind of about loneliness. Like, I feel like that's better than just, like, he's a bad guy, you know?
Right, yeah.
So my thought was the AI doesn't want her to spend time with him because, you know, he's an old man and she's a kid and they don't know who the fuck this guy is, which makes sense. It's a good decision. But he basically says, well, I know where there's other people. He lies.
Right.
He's like, I know a safe place, other survivors. I was heading there from a different place with survivors. If we make it to this place, you will have a home, you know? And that's enough to entice her and the AI.
Mm-hmm.
And the AI is like, bullshit. And she's like, no, it's not bullshit, you know?
Right.
His crime is that he gives her hope so that she'll help him get along because he's injured. He can't do it on his own, right? Like his leg is broken, his rib is cracked or some shit. It's hard for him to even walk. So he needs her help in order to keep going. So he lies and says he knows a place because she's going to leave, right?
Right.
Like she she helps him out of the crash and maybe with the vulture's help fucking pops his knee back in. That'd be a pretty cool scene. Like a cartoon vulture teaching a kid how to fucking put somebody's dislocated elbow back together. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then after that, you know, maybe she makes a splint, puts the splint on him, and then she's leaving. And the AI is like, all right, you've had your fun, you've helped him, now we gotta go. We don't trust this guy, we don't know, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
She's gonna leave, and as she's walking away, he's like, hey, I know a place. You know, he uses the Patrick Stewart, the voice he does in Logan, where he's laying in the bed, and he's like, he does that voice, where he's like, I know someone who can help you. You know?
Right.
I know an orphanage, I know a safe place, I know a place for kids or whatever. You know? He has a convincing enough lie.
Right.
And he knows how to get there through the tunnels. He's like, it's hidden, I know how to get there. So then you get this story of like she's carrying this old man through the tunnels, and then eventually he's going to get better and eventually betray her because he can't be trusted, and then she's going to eventually learn that there is no other place, it's just them.
Right.
And we can get this other kid character in there.
Or maybe, yeah, I mean, that's...
It could just end with her meeting Peter. Like she just meets another kid her age, and just having a friend is enough to keep going.
I don't know about that.
You know? I don't know. The idea of making this about loneliness actually...
That's compelling, yeah.
It fits with me.
Right.
I mean, I am Aloney. There's something very, very deep and compelling. And like it's called, like the original name is like Don't Talk to Strangers, right? So like even that
Right.
is like a manifestation of loneliness, is like you don't want to interact with other people that you don't know. And the idea of like endless system of dark tunnels where all you have is your imaginary companion definitely lends itself to a depressed like aloneness story. So what if this is like about connecting to people? The question is, will she forgive Patrick Stewart for being a lying asshole, or is it more about, is he like a toxic person you need to cut out of your life and then she'll find someone else later as sort of her end? I actually like having only 3 characters. I actually like Peter just being the end of the story as she meets another kid.
Maybe, yeah,
You
but
know,
you know,
the idea of like he's selling her on this lie of like there's a place where there's other people, and then him betraying her definitely feels like an all is lost to me.
yeah,
And her losing her AI in some way also could work for
right,
that all is lost.
yeah,
And then her getting it back and finding someone, like eventually finding someone else way later could work. I don't know. The push and pull, like a movie that's just about a kid and Patrick Stewart walking through tunnels sounds amazing to me. Like just that concept of like it's just the two of them and it's whether or not they can trust each other is the movie. That's definitely a cool movie.
yeah.
So I think we know where do they go, right? What is this place he sells her on? What do you think? Like a name of it or whatever he says it is. Like what do you think he would say? If you were an old man injured and you needed someone to help you and they were about to leave, what would you tell them?
Go to the garden station, or I don't know. That's a
Ooh, yeah.
preachy name, but just like somewhere we can go where there's like water fountains. It's a wonderful place to just relax, and at the end of the day, you can take a train anywhere you want.
Ooh, like Terminus in Walking Dead. Uh in Walking Dead there's this thing about all the trains, there's notes on them that says find Terminus, and it's basically where all the trains meet
Okay.
is a town. But they're all fucking cannibals and evil.
Ah,
But in this one, he's just like Union Station. That's what he'll call it. Like he's like,
I mean Union Station,
or whatever, like the center station,
center station. I don't think
Yeah.
there's a center station.
Yeah. He like names a station, right? Like a center.
Yeah.
Green Station works.
Yep.
Uh Crossroad Station.
I did suggest Garden
Crossroads.
Station.
Garden State. Yeah, Garden Station works. As cheesy as it is, it works.
Yeah.
In his desperation, he lies so she will keep helping him. I can take you to Garden Station. He lies even more. He's like, I worked on these tunnels. Because, he's an adult, right? Adults know everything.
Yeah.
I worked on these tunnels.
I know these tunnels
serviced
like the back of
them.
my hand.
Yeah. Yeah, I know them like the back of my hand. And he could be like the tech guy. Like, that's what he was, right? The fact that even all of this is even lies, right? Like he didn't service the tunnels, he doesn't know, and like the idea that he doesn't even know where he's going is like so good to me.
Right.
Like he does know how to hack into the doors and shit. Like he is a techie type dude, but he's just like a random hobo that knows how to mess with tech,
Yeah.
It's part of the whole scavenger thing, right? Is like he's stealing parts. The idea that his AI is breaking, like you wanted to do the degrading thing. What if his AI is degrading and he wants parts from hers?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, that plays into your
Yeah, my whole like arc, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe that's why he wants to go to the station, because he's know there's like a place where you can like parts
the station,
repair
he's
and
describing
or disassemble.
Yeah.
AIs.
Yeah, in the part where he describes where they're going, he's describing, because you have to describe a real place when you're lying, it has to have some truths.
Right.
So he's like, we need to go to Garden Station, and it's like he knows that there's the stuff there to disassemble her AI. Yeah, that works really well. That's more compelling than just he's gonna screw her over and leave. Like, that's good. I like all that.
Yeah.
You like that?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure that barometer is good. All right. Where do we go? We got how do we lose is next. So the all is lost moment. We can explain the fun and games in a second, but we have to figure out where they go before we can just be like, this is all the fun stuff that happens. So he gets her to the station. He sits her down or whatever, and he's like, all right, I got to do this thing real quick. Help me open the door or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
He comes up with a clever lie like, I need your AI's, like this thing from your AI to get the door open.
I'm going to need your AI friend to help open a door.
Yeah. He's like, just put your arm here. Right. And the ultimate trust exercise, put your arm in this like hole in the wall. If you can put your arm in there, that'll help us unlock the door. And the AI is like, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. Puts her arm in.
Danger.
Locks her in. He's fucking ripping parts out of her arm or whatever. With like it's like a crane thing. He's like slowly taking this piece out. He's like, it's like a little robot arm. And it like taps her wrist, and then it like comes out this little computer chip type deal. and he's just about to grab it. He pulls the chip out, and then she has no more AI. Like her AI disappears in front of her, and he like laughs. You get this whole villain reveal of like you're just a dumbass kid. Like I
Oh,
needed it, thank
boy.
you. Like he chuckles a little bit. Her AI disappears, and she's like, "Where's my AI?" And he's like, "Oh, you'll get it back in a second." And then he leaves, and the door locks. Like the idea of him just like leaving her alone in the dark with nothing. Suddenly, he is the most evil person in the universe. Right? Does that work, or is that too far? Have I lost the plot?
Uh, I I kind of like the idea of him being somewhat remorseful about it. Like, just being like, sorry, kid, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So I'm taking this AI and running
Yeah,
with
and then
it.
he leaves with it,
Yeah.
and the door lock. Like, yeah, I'm fine with all that. I just like the image to me of a little girl. She has this imaginary friend. It's all she has. The AI says, "Don't help this man."
Mm-hmm.
At every turn. It's like a morality tale. It's like you cannot trust strangers. Do not trust this man. I don't care how nice he is. Do not trust him.
Not
The
trust.
idea that it goes through all this, they bond, they become friends and stuff, and then at the end of the journey, he fucking presses it. He tells her to do the thing. It's the last symbol of trust. Like just grab this bar, right? It's like there's like a bar, and
Right.
you have to like stick your hand through a hole to get to the bar. He's like, grab this bar and pull it. You're the only one who could fit your hands through the hole.
Mm.
Grab this bar and pull it, and it'll unlock the door so we can go. Puts her hand in, pulls it, it locks, piece comes out of her wrist, like it takes her thing. He's got her AI. And he says, sorry, kid. He leaves, the door closes, and just imagine the image of her seeing her imaginary friend in front of her. It's sad. It feels bad. It disappears in front of her. And then he walks away with it. And the door shuts, and she's just in the dark.
Right.
It's like, imagine this entire time the AI was like also the contact lenses were like brightening the room for her.
Ah. Oh,
So like
yeah.
without it, she's just in the dark.
Yeah. That's a fun idea.
And that's the lowest moment you could imagine. Like I can't think of an all is lost moment lower than a little girl losing her imaginary friend and being left in the dark.
Yep.
I don't even know how to get back from that. That's where I'm like, we should have Peter come in and save her ass, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Like the idea of like her lost in the dark. The only thing, that's another metaphorical thing, right? It's like the only thing that'll help you through loneliness is other people.
Mm.
So she has to trust this other kid, this Peter kid. Like
Right.
she's stuck in the dark, and then suddenly in the distance she sees literally like a Tinkerbell, like a butterfly that's glowing.
Hmm.
And then this kid walks up, and she has to trust this kid, instead of trusting this creepy old man.
Sure. No.
I don't know if that's the right lesson to teach, though. It's like, oh, well, you don't trust the old man, but you could trust another kid your age. I don't know
Right.
if that's a good enough lesson.
Not the best lesson. My question is just like, I feel like we kind of, I don't know, I feel like the kid kind of has to show up from somewhere. Like,
Yeah, like earlier.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know, like
The kid
maybe.
being like the example of what to do could be good too. Maybe they should meet him on their journey. I don't know. Or the kid could be like, she sees like a shadowy monster in the distance. She doesn't know what it is.
Right.
Like something is following them.
Right.
And Patrick Stewart is like, it's a monster. Right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And he's like creating this whole lore of like creatures that live outside. And you don't know if it's true or not because it's like, it's the post apocalyptic world. Right.
Yeah.
So you're like, I don't know if he's telling the truth or not. And it's part of the play into like whether or not you can trust him.
Right.
But that thing that's following them is the kid.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Maybe his like AI is like it covers, it hides him in shadows or whatever. Like because the AIs can affect other AIs, right? And it can affect what you see and what other people see. So maybe it's like this shadowy blob moving around is actually this kid. Like his AI is like a raven or something that's like covering him.
Mm.
So other people don't see him.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like it's blocking other people's vision, whatever his thing is. Oh, it's like a butterfly, right? And on one side it's black, and then on the other side it's a butterfly.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So like you see this shadowy figure moving around, and you're like, what is that? And it's like this shape of like this monster thing, and it's just like a butterfly with a kid shadow kind of mixed somehow.
Right.
Which also plays in the Peter Pan thing, because he's got a shadow,
Yep.
Okay. I like this. This is a weird, cheesy, out there idea.
Yeah.
But we definitely found something. Okay. So where are we at here? So there's a shadowy figure following them. They bond over getting away from this shadowy figure. I kind of want to do like a cave-in scene where they're working together. And then him leaving her is great. Her alone in the dark, powerful scene. Her like crying in the dark, not knowing what to do is pretty good. Like finally seeing her break after all this time. Like she's this tough kid the whole time, and then at the end she's just like bawling. It's like I would cry watching that. Like watching Newt being left alone in the dark and then crying is maybe the saddest thing you can think of. This is like a fucking Oscar movie.
Right.
And then the idea of like another kid, like that butterfly turning around kind of thing. Like she sees the shadowy figure in the distance. Like it's like dim and dark. And there's like a light in the distance and she sees the shadowy figure and she's terrified. Maybe she like closes her eyes. She's like, I don't know what to do. She's like, she accepts death. And then it turns around and it's like, oh, it's just another kid. Like maybe his image, when you're looking at him, you see a light and then you see like a shadowy butterfly type shape in front of the light. And it's because his AI is like in the front, it's like a bioluminescent butterfly, and then in the back, it's like black.
Right.
So every time they see him, they think it's like some monster, and the guy's playing it up, but it's actually just another kid. And then this kid helps her get up. He says, "Hi, I'm Peter," and she's not sure if she can trust him. She's like, "I'm Sally," or whatever. Do they go and get her AI back? Is my question. Do we want that like climactic moment of like, "Fuck you, Patrick Stewart. We're gonna kick your ass and take her back"?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's fun.
Yeah. I mean, it feels appropriate.
Yeah. Also, I like the idea, like, if Patrick Stewart was lying and he's like, oh, it's a terrifying monster and stuff, the idea that her and him, like, scare him into dropping the fucking AI shit could be fun. Maybe this AI thing doesn't have to be like a computer chip in her wrist. Maybe it's like a wristband.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody has a wristband. It projects like a screen on your hand for you to like mess with stuff or something. Or like it's like a camera thing. Like if we don't have phones anymore, we still need the camera and we still need like some buttons.
Right.
You know? So it's like a wristband you put on and it connects to your lenses or whatever that are in your eyes, like built in. Maybe it's like like a sci-fi future shit or whatever. It doesn't dry out somehow. Or they're like glasses she's wearing or something. I don't know. But she's got the wristband. So he's like, all right, pull this lever and it'll get us in there. And then when she puts her hand in to pull the lever, he grabs her wristband and then her hand is stuck. And then he gets out, you know? I feel like that's good enough for like the stealing the AI thing.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, there's a hole. I can't fit my hand through this. Can you put your hand in there and pull this lever so we can go open the door? And then she pulls the lever. He grabs the wristband and then he leaves. Maybe she doesn't see him grab the wristband. Like he can just grab it or whatever. Anyway, it doesn't matter, the specifics. He gets her wristband. So now he has 2 wristbands and he's using her AI to do shit or whatever. What an asshole, by the way. Like, what an unbelievable asshole. It's like all this kid has is this wristwatch. And yours is getting old, so you want to just take hers and reformat it.
Yep.
God damn. That sucks, man. He's an asshole. But you totally understand why he would do that, though, too. It's like you literally can't see when you don't have these things, you know?
Right.
So, yeah, that works. And then, yeah, they got to beat him, terrify him into dropping it, and then grab it and get out of there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that works.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get a cool, like, AI fight, like the AIs are fighting each other.
Right, yeah.
While she's grabbing the bracelet and stuff. We get, like, a cool lights show with, like, the butterfly terrifying him as the shadow or whatever, and they're, like, distracting him.
That's our, like, spectacle fight at the end.
Yeah. There you go. I think that's a good story. That's a good Oscar movie.
Yeah, that's fun.
We took the 2 bad ideas we had that were super derivative and boring, and we turned them into a super derivative and boring Oscar movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, though, I don't think that's derivative at all. I can't even name another movie like that. The closest I can think is there's that post-apocalyptic movie with Viggo Mortensen.
What is it, The Road?
The Road, yeah. I was thinking it's like The Road is kind of like this, except instead of having a dad that's like sick and dying, you have an AI. But I don't know, man. Yeah. I can't really think of anything kind of like this. This is a pretty good one.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I will say, I like the idea we have with our AIs, but I do realize they're a little similar to, what is it, the Golden Compass? Like all the characters in that series has like familiars, which are like more like D&D familiars, like they're actual creatures. but like for kids, they tend to shapeshift a lot. Meanwhile, when they're adult, they're like
Mm,
more refined, so
damn.
they're more representative of like the adult's personality.
Yeah. So we came up with tech golden compass.
A little bit, but
But I'll say this. I never seen Golden Compass.
right.
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
And I'd say we just took the idea of a familiar, which is already a public domain idea, you
Yeah.
know? That's basically what they are. And actually, all of this kind of came from an episode of, there's a TV show on the Science Channel that was like The Future or something it was called. It was about what the future is going to be like. It had Hirohito, the futurist.
Okay.
You know who that guy is? He's in a lot of sci-fi show, like a lot of
Ah.
like History Channel and Science Channel stuff. So he talked about what the future would be like, and they had all these really cool VFX looks to it. It was like making it look real.
Right.
And one of them was like the AI companion that is your friend, an imaginary. It was like an animal that shapeshifted and was your friend. I think that's where I got my idea from. I saw that and I was like, there's got to be a movie about that. And then I also came up with the whole AI mother thing. But then I watched I Am Mother, and I was like, well, that's better. But yeah, it is kind of Golden Compassy. I guess in the pitch, you would say this is Golden Compass meets The Road.
I mean, the story of Golden Compass is very different from this. I think,
Yeah.
I think that is very much like, they're abducting children or something, or taking their.
Yeah, it's like a whole series too.
Yeah.
But we got it. We got an idea.
Yep.
I don't know if it's good, but it's an idea.
Yeah.
So here's the movie we came up with. A little girl named Sally loses her parents in a train accident. She's stuck in the train tunnels for years. They seemingly endless. They're these technologically advanced tunnels. They're all pitch black. There's no light anywhere. She can see in the dark because she has these contact lenses and this wristband that are like an augmented reality thing. She has a little imaginary friend that's an animal that shapeshifts based on the situation. It's her emotional support AI. They're friends. They hang out. 6 years go by of it keeping her company while she's trying to get her way out. Doesn't seem like there's a way out or there's anyone coming for them.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly, another train crashes. She has a panic attack. The AI helps her with that. And then she realizes the creature that's stalking her that came out of the train car is another AI. It's a vulture with the voice of Keith David.
Yes.
It leads her to his friend, who is Patrick Stewart, laying with a broken leg and a broken rib. She nurses him to health a little bit, makes a splint. There's a really cool scene where we have Keith David, the vulture, explaining to a little girl how to fix Patrick Stewart's broken leg. She cracks it back in place, puts a splint on it, he wraps his own chest or whatever.
Right.
And then as she's about to leave, because her AI is like, we better go. We don't know if we can trust him. He says out loud, Garden Station, I know a place.
Yep.
Garden is a beautiful place. There's other people there. I can take you there. I used to service these tunnels. I used to fix this place. I can bring you there. He and her are walking through the tunnels together. They're having a fun old time. We get fun and games of like Last of Us style puzzles with them trying to get through the tunnels together. Maybe there's a cave in, maybe not. It's a little intense, a little exciting. There's a moment where he's going to like leave her during the cave in. He's going to like let her hand go or some shit, but she gets out anyway. Showing that maybe you can't trust him, maybe you can.
Right.
Maybe they're like at like a VR fire, like there's like an AR fire that they both have in front of them, and it's like a heater that they put on the ground that looks like it turns into fire for them.
Right.
Like they find a car battery they turn on, and it's like it heats them up a little bit or whatever, but then it's covered in imaginary fire. And they're like sitting at a fire telling ghost stories, and then, there's a fucking evil butterfly monster. Some monster chasing them, and he's like, it's a creepy creature, we gotta get away, trying to scare her a little bit, make her more dependent. He heals up. They finally make it to Garden Station, where he says, all you need to do, pull this lever and hold it real tight, don't let go no matter what happens. Grabs the wristband, runs through the door. She lets go in shock that her imaginary friend is disappearing in front of her. It says goodbye. Door shuts. She's stuck in the dark all alone, crying. And we linger on it for a little bit, like a little bit longer than we should. Like her eyes are always glowing. Like both of their eyes always have like those ring lights glowing because of the lenses. But at this point, the light goes out in her eyes, and she's just like stuck in the dark. She can't see anything. She doesn't have her augmented lenses. She can't see. She's fucked. She's screwed. She doesn't know what to do. She's panicking, lost in the dark. We get a really good couple minutes of that. It's like the fucking Peter Parker holding up the fucking rubble scene where she breaks. We see all the pain underneath that they were both kind of hiding. And then here comes the other kid, Peter, who was the monster all along. Turns out it was just another kid.
Yep.
Basically, with his own AI that's like a light on the front and then dark on the back. And it helps them track down Patrick Stewart, and then they fucking kick him in the balls, take their fucking wristband back, and leave. The end. It's got a weird ending. I don't know, but it's something like that, you know. A vulture and a giant butterfly fighting with like Technicolor lights and like CG while two kids beat the shit out of Patrick Stewart sounds amazing to me. And you root for them to beat the shit out of him too. The idea of like her kicking him in the leg where he was healing, like, you know, I helped you with that. Well, fuck you if you're gonna screw me over, kind of thing.
Right.
Hitting him in the leg and leaving him in the tunnel with just him and his bird, like exactly where she found him, I feel like is the perfect ending. Like, she doesn't kill him or anything. Nobody dies. She just kicks him in his broken leg and runs with the other kid. And he's just left there exactly where she met him, laying on the ground saying, "Help me," to no one.
Yep.
And I think it's a very cool lesson of the movie. And the movie's called Don't Talk to Strangers. What a fucking weird movie. Hey, kids, if you're stuck in a creepy tunnel and your parents are dead and you have an AI companion buddy, don't be friends with Patrick Stewart.
Yes.
Like, you can help someone if they need help, but that should be the extent. Don't, you know, listen to false promises. You know, don't listen to con men. Listen to the people you trust more. And then if you're screwed and alone and broken, maybe some other kid will come with their magic best friend and save you. It kind of loses its messages at the end, but I do like the image of a kid alone in the dark and the only thing that can help them is someone else. That's kind of the message of the entire movie, you know? Because Patrick Stewart needs their help because he's alone in the dark and he needs someone. She needs his help because she doesn't know where to go or what to do. And this other kid needs her help because he's alone also, you know? Also, I love the idea of when that butterfly turns around, it's just like video games on the other side. Like, imagine like a butterfly and on the front, it's like a bioluminescent butterfly, but it's like fucking Tetris.
Right.
And then on the other side, it's just black, like the back of a TV.
Yeah.
And it's protecting him and distracting him.
Yep.
I think that's cool. Keith David as a vulture fighting a butterfly sounds amazing to me. Who's the butterfly, Scott? I want it to be like a woman with a sharp voice for some reason.
All right. Yeah.
What is that woman's name? The one, you know, what's it called? Haunted Mansion. Remember Haunted Mansion?
Maybe was that the animated one or
No, the one with Eddie Murphy. Yeah. You hear her voice, you would know what I'm talking about. Jennifer Tilly.
Huh. All right.
What else was she in? Chucky, Bride of Chucky. That's the voice. Or the girlfriend from Monsters Inc. Right?
That's an interesting choice. Yeah.
Yeah, that as the name, the butterfly, I think is really fun.
Pretty
yeah, what's her name? It's Jennifer Tilly as the butterfly. She's Tinker or whatever, Tinkerbell the butterfly or whatever.
Working these days, or like, you know, if she's acting.
Yeah, this is a good question. Let's see. Has she been in anything recently? Oh, you know what? She was in the new Chucky TV show also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess the wife shows up, huh? I gotta watch that show. But yeah, she's in a couple of things. She's still working, I guess.
Nice.
Who's the AI then?
Yeah.
Like her AI, like Patrick's, no, like Sally's AI, the main AI.
Yeah.
That's the last voice we need.
Someone young.
Yeah. I don't know if Karen Gillian would work. I actually kind of like that. The Scottish voice, like, you know,
maybe
Amy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I kind of like the idea of, like, you know, having someone playful.
Yeah. Or like Zoe Saldana or something. Like somebody, a famous young modern actress, like 20s or 30s.
Right.
You know, someone everybody knows that's fun. And I think Karen Gillian is a good one.
Yeah, that could be fun.
I feel like if I tell anyone Karen Gillian, like that sounds like, you know, I can't think of anybody else who's like more like as a likable actress nowadays.
Right.
I like her and everything, you know. She's really good as Nebula. She's directed a couple of things too. She was in a really good horror movie.
Oh, right.
That I like. I mean, it wasn't that good, but I liked it.
Right, and you liked her in it.
Yes, but yeah, man, a good Karen, by the way.
Yeah,
didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
All right, Karen Gillian. This is a stacked cast, man.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, we got Karen Gillian, unnamed girl, who will be a big actress one day. Karen Gillian as an AI that shapeshifts animals. I could see her being a newt. I could see her voicing various characters. And we'll have her do mocap. The idea of Karen Gillian in a mocap suit, like acting like a nude, is hilarious to me. But yeah, she's animals or whatever. We get CG animals. She's voice acting that.
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart and Keith David. I love the idea of Keith David and Patrick Stewart making something together.
That
Like
would
the
be
idea
pretty
of
awesome.
Keith David being off camera acting with Patrick Stewart sounds amazing.
Sounds wonderful.
Like, yeah, I can't think of anything better than the two of them working together. As I don't think this ever happened.
I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, they're both in a lot of shit, so maybe. And then Jennifer Tully as the butterfly and just some dumb kid. Like the kids are just random kids, kid actor, whatever, number 72.
I like the idea of the like Peter being a little bit older though, like more of a teenager.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, either or, whatever. But I think it's fun. I think that whole thing is cool. The concept is cool. It took us 2.5 hours, but
hey,
we did it.
We did it. Coming up with ideas can sometimes be challenging. Remember that, kids.
This is like the hardest show I do, by the way, but it's the most fun. Like, I like that in Talking to No One, where it's just me writing a movie, I get done in like 20 minutes, and then I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Right.
Because there's nobody opposing me. Yeah. So I'm just like, here's my idea.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts, the TV show. Here's all the characters. Here's what they do. And then I spend 40 minutes like trying to figure out which Final Fantasy characters are banging. And I suck at it too, but yeah. Or like 12 video game movies in a half an hour. It's like I just read the Wikipedia and then I'm like, that's the movie.
Yep.
Yeah, not like this. This is the real deal. That's why it's so hard to schedule and get together, because there's something here, But yeah, I had a ton of fun. We should do this again.
Yeah.
In like 3 weeks to a month from now.
Yeah.
Depending. We should just do it twice a month, because then we would never run out of episodes and we could take long breaks.
Yeah.
But we'd both have to be free,
Right.
But yeah, I think that's it. Don't talk to strangers.
Good moral advice. And
yeah, don't trust Patrick Stewart.
An Oscar-winning movie, surely.
Yeah. I think Don't Talk to Strangers is a good name for this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That sounds like an Oscar movie to me.
Yeah.
If you said like Life of Pi, you're just like saying random Oscar movie like Life of Pi, blah, 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 and you're like, I never heard of half of these movies, but Don't Talk to Strangers sounds good.
Yes.
La La Land, what the fuck is that? No. Don't Talk to Strangers, that sounds good. Sounds like it'll get an Oscar. Kid Crying in the Dark. Best Actress. Kid Crying in the Dark.
Oh, such a moving performance.
Yeah. Best Voice Acting. Keith David, as always. Got to win some more voice acting. You got to win more. I wonder what awards he's won. He's had to have won a lot. But yeah, Patrick Stewart, Best Supporting Actor.
Of course. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yes.
Keith
David.
Angry Old Man. Yeah.
Yes. An all-star cast indeed.
Yeah. Okay. And then Jennifer Tully could get snubbed for being the comic relief, as per usual, with her amazing skill, but not accolades.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, I think we're just going to keep talking if we don't stop. So I'm going to stop this, and then we're going to still hang out.
But I have 20 more opinions.
One day, maybe one day, if we actually get a big enough following, we can have a Shoot the Shit podcast where we just talk.
Yeah.
But we haven't gotten to the point where we can just coast on our views.
Yep.
Where we're like, we're tired of writing movies.
Yep.
Why would we write movies? What's the point of that? I don't know.
Now we're going to talk about our favorite bubblegum. And you people are going to listen and you're going to like it.
Yeah.
Are people like that, actually?
Tootsie Pop. Okay? Tootsie Pops are the best, obviously.
Right.
It's both a gum and a lollipop. Like, come on. Obvious.
Yeah.
Screw fucking Hubble Bubble or whatever. That shitty pink shit that you chew on. Like, that's fine. It fucks up your mouth and your jaw.
Right.
You know what's better? Fucking Tootsie Pop, man. Everything. It's all the candies in one.
Yes. It's wonderful.
Anyway. All right. If we did do a Shoot the Shit, we'd have to find topics and shit, though. That sounds like a lot of work. It's much easier to just sit down and go, I don't know, what are we writing? I don't know. What did we write 5 years ago? There were a lot of ideas in there, though. I forgot how many movies I was writing. I didn't even go through them all.
Yeah.
Man, back when I had free time and I wasn't just streaming and editing and all that shit. Back when I could dream. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you in a month. Next week is Talking to No One. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll figure it out.
Yep.
Something. Welcome to season 2. It's the same thing again.
Yes.
Congrats.
It's all you ever want.
Yeah. Who needs to tweak a formula when it works?
Yep.
Anyway, bye.